Man, sometimes the NFL really does deliver surprises that nobody saw coming. And what just happened with Christian Wilkins might be one of the most shocking moves of this entire training camp so far. Out of nowhere, the Las Vegas Raiders cut ties with a guy who was not too long ago the highest paid defensive tackle in the league. We're talking about a player who cashed in big when he left the Dolphins to join the Raiders. And now suddenly, he's a free agent again. No trade, no mutual separation, just gone. And the real twist, it's not about performance. It's not about age. It's definitely not about cap space. It all circles back to health, guaranteed money, and a really complicated situation involving recovery from surgery, and some very strong disagreements behind the scenes. Let's rewind this whole thing because there's a lot to unpack. Christian Wilkins had surgery last October, a procedure to repair a Jones fracture in his foot. Now, normally that's something players bounce back from in 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 if you're being conservative. That should have put him back on the field in time for off-season workouts. Maybe not full go in January, but certainly by odds, mini camp, and for sure by training camp. But here we are deep into camp, and Wilkins still hasn't practiced, not even limited work, not even stretching on the sidelines and pads. He's just not available, and that's where the trouble started from the Raiders' side. The word is they wanted Wilkins to go through with a second surgery. They reportedly brought in external specialists, and the medical advice across the board pointed toward him needing another operation to fully heal. But Wilkins said no. He didn't want another procedure, whether it was concern about the recovery timeline, fear of long-term damage, or just disagreement with the medical opinions. He refused. And from that point on, the relationship went downhill fast. The Raiders decided to void the rest of his guaranteed money, which, by the way, we're talking about more than $35 million, and they straight up released him. They're trying to walk away clean, and that kind of move almost never happens in this league, especially with someone of his caliber. Now, the NFLPA is stepping in, filing a grievance on Wilkins' behalf to try and recover that guaranteed money, and that's going to be a messy legal battle. This kind of situation where a team tries to go after guarantees due to injury complications is rare. It happens maybe once every few years, and when it does, it's usually tied to something serious. Criminal cases, suspensions, violations of conduct policies. Not because a guy disagrees with doctors and misses camp. So already this is a case that's going to get a lot of eyes across the league. But here's where things get interesting for us, especially if you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys. Because the moment news broke that Wilkins was available, it lit up the radar for every team with a need on the defensive line. And guess what? The Cowboys are one of those teams. In fact, they might be the team that could benefit most from a player like Christian Wilkins. If, and it's a huge if, he's healthy. You look at what Wilkins brings to the table when he's right, physically, and it's almost exactly what the Cowboys are missing. He's a big-bodied defensive tackle over 300 pounds with the ability to anchor against the run and still give you some push on passing downs. That kind of interior disruption is gold in today's NFL. And let's be real, Dallas has been trying to patch together that spot for a while now. They've thrown a bunch of bodies at it, some developmental guys, some veterans on cheap deals, but none of them bring the level of consistency and dominance that Wilkins showed during his best years in Miami. Now again, we're talking about potential here because the actual situation is a whole different story. The reports right now say he's not ready to go. Some teams have been told he won't be healthy by the start of the season. Others think he might be available for a playoff push late in the year if he's healed up and wants to join a contender. But even that's speculation. There's real concern around the league about that foot, and no one knows for sure what kind of shape he's in. And more importantly, no one knows what kind of shape that relationship with his own body is in. Because if you can't trust a player to follow through on rehab to do the work and get back on the field, then the risk becomes enormous. Still, from the Cowboys' point of view, it's hard not to be tempted. Wilkins checks every box from a football standpoint. He's physical. He's smart. He's experienced. He fits any front you want to run. You could line him up as a 3 technique or even ask him to handle nose duties. If you're going with a lighter rotation, and with the way Dallas has been handling their defensive line lately, they're definitely leaning toward smaller, quicker fronts. That's part of the reason why they've been shuffling around guys like Mazie Smith, trying to figure out how to get the best out of their investments. Speaking of Maisie, and this is where things get even messier, the way the Cowboys have handled that situation hasn't exactly inspired confidence. Drafting a guy in the first round, then spending the next 2 years messing with his weight, asking him to change his style of play, rotating him in and out of schemes that don't really suit him. It feels like they've set him up to fail, and it's not just about Mozzie. Look at the entire depth chart at defensive tackle. You've got Osa Odazuwa, who's a solid player, but he's really more of a complementary piece than a true anchor. Solomon Thomas, he's fine, but he's not built to play inside full-time. And the idea of using him at nose when he's hovering around 180 pounds, that's not going to hold up over 17 games. Then you got the guys in reclamation projects. Yen Hai is a 7th-round pick. Perry and Winfrey, he was playing in the UFFL. These are not names you build your interior around. So if you're the Cowboys and you know your defensive front is one of the weakest spots on the roster, and now there's a guy like Wilkins sitting out there, a guy who could potentially fix that whole group, how do you not at least explore it? And I'm not saying you have to sign him right now. No one's asking for a huge commitment, but bring him in, get him in the building, run the medicals, take a real look at that foot. Maybe it's worse than we thought. Maybe the rehab is behind schedule and he's not going to be ready until December. Fine. At least now you know. At least you did your homework. Because if you don't even make the call, if you don't even bring the guy in for a look, that's just lazy front office work. We've seen the Cowboys do this before. By the way, remember when they brought in Eric Berry for a visit? Same thing. He never ended up playing again, but they still gave him the chance to prove it. That's all I'm asking for with Wilkins. Let him come in. Let the medical staff do their job. And if the answer is no, then you move on. But if there's even a small chance he can get healthy and play at some point this year, that could be the kind of move that changes everything for this defense. Because here's the truth. When Christian Wilkins is healthy, he's better than anyone the Cowboys currently have at that position. No disrespect to Osa, but Wilkins is on a different level. And if the Cowboys are serious about contending this year, they can't keep rolling into battle with a soft middle. They've got playmakers at the edges. They've got linebackers who can fly. But none of that works if you're getting pushed around in the middle of the line. Wilkins would fix that. He's the kind of guy who soaks up double teams, eats space, clogs lanes, and still finds ways to flash on passing downs. There just aren't many players like that. Now, obviously, we're not ignoring the red flags. You'd be crazy not to be concerned about how the Raiders handled this. You don't pay a guy that kind of money and then cut him unless you're really convinced something isn't right. And when you dig into what's being said, it sounds like there's some frustration from the Raiders side about how Wilkins approached his recovery. Some folks around the league are saying he didn't follow through with rehab the way they expected. There's speculation that he kind of went rogue, did his own thing, maybe didn't report for certain offseason check-ins. All of that adds up to a pretty serious concern. Teams want players who are committed to the process, especially when they're coming back from injury. One head coach was even quoted saying, "If he's not healthy enough to play for the Raiders, something's not right." And that's a fair point because the Raiders desperately need help on the defensive line. Their tackle rotation right now is thin. We're talking about guys like Adam Butler and Leaky Fott holding it down. No shade, but those aren't impact players. That unit was built with the idea that Wilkins would be the centerpiece, and now, not only is he gone, but they're also trying to wipe the books clean and pretend like the deal never happened. That tells you just how badly things soured behind closed doors. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are swirling through the NFL world about a potential game-changing move involving Baker Mayfield and the Dallas Cowboys. While nothing is official yet, sources suggest that the Cowboys might be setting their sights on adding the charismatic quarterback to their roster, sparking a flurry of excitement and speculation among fans and analysts alike. Baker Mayfield, known for his fiery competitiveness and dynamic playing style, has had a rollercoaster career since entering the league despite some ups and downs. Mayfield has demonstrated flashes of brilliance that could make him an intriguing option for Dallas, especially if the team is looking to shake things up under center. The Cowboys, a franchise always hungry for success and eager to build a championship caliber squad, might see Mayfield as the missing piece to elevate their offense to the next level. The buzz began after reports hinted at Mayfield arriving in Dallas, fueling rumors of possible talks or even a deal in the works. While the details remain murky, insiders suggest that Dallas is evaluating whether Mayfield's skill set and leadership could fit their offensive scheme, known for his ability to extend plays and connect on deep throws. Mayfield could provide a new dimension to a Cowboys offense that has been searching for consistency. This potential move comes at a time when the Cowboys are under pressure to improve their quarterback situation. The franchise has invested heavily in talent around the position, but the results haven't fully met expectations. Bringing in Mayfield could signal a bold shift, an attempt to blend his aggressive style with the team's powerful weapons and solid offensive line. Of course, any change at quarterback always carries risks. Mayfield's history of injuries and occasional inconsistency might give the Cowboys front office pause. However, if he can recapture his early career form and stay healthy, the upside is tantalizing. Fans are already imagining the possibility of Mayfield donning the iconic star helmet, bringing energy and excitement to a team eager to make a deep playoff run. The NFL offseason is notorious for unexpected developments, and this rumor adds another intriguing storyline to watch. Whether Mayfield's arrival in Dallas turns into a full-fledged signing or remains just a tantalizing possibility, one thing is certain: the Cowboys are stirring the pot, and the NFL world will be watching closely. As the situation unfolds, questions abound. Will Mayfield embrace a fresh start in Dallas? Can the Cowboys harness his talent to turn their season around? Only time will tell, but for now, the buzz is undeniable. Baker Mayfield to the Cowboys might just be the shakeup the NFL needs. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.